Good morning. This is Seychelle Van Poole, and we are delighted to have Paul Hurme on the line as well with Keller Williams, and he is with Team Builder out of the Puget Sound region of Keller Williams. Paul, welcome. We are so excited to have you on the line with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and I believe Bill Hurme is on here somewhere.
Awesome.
I'm here.
Bill, great. I'm so thrilled. So we have Paul and Bill on the line with us. We are thrilled to have both of you gentlemen. And you all did a small accomplishment this last year in that you were number 3 in all of Keller Williams International, both in units sold, but also all of Keller Williams International number 3 as far as GCI earned. So congratulations on that. We are very excited to have you guys on the line with us. So Bill and Paul, you guys run a model that's a little bit different than most of the models that we see out here in the real estate world and the real estate team world. So we're excited to have you guys on the line today and to learn about your business model and how you guys operate. So we're going to kick it off and get started. So Paul and Bill, I'll let either of you field this. How did you guys find your way to Keller Williams, and tell us a little bit about your background with your business?
Bill, do you want to go first?
Well, I didn't come up as a realtor. I came up from property management.
Okay.
And many years ago, before the invention of water, my property management boss came to me and said, we're going to convert 4 projects from apartments to condominiums, and they total 816 units, and you're in charge of doing it.
Wow.
So I said, I better go get a real estate license. So I did, and I've never been in general real estate. I've never worked as a general agent. When I buy or sell a home, I go hire a realtor.
Right.
So I just tried to organize it in a way that made sense.
Right.
And I honestly didn't really know what I was doing. But back in 1981, I was hiring real estate agents. We made them employees with benefits and incentive compensation on top of that. And that's really a model we've never really wavered from.
Got it.
And our agents are all builder dedicated. Now, is that a phrase that you use down there, builder dedicated?
I wouldn't say in our North Texas, New Mexico, and Memphis region it's a common phrase, but we're familiar with how that works. But just to make sure we're all on the same page, how do you define that?
Well, builder dedicated means that our agents are only allowed to sell to the builder communities that they're assigned. They're not allowed to do any general real estate.
Got it. So they can sell. We use builder rep as the term down here, but it's a very similar concept. They work for the builder, exclusively for the builder, and if someone walks in and has a home to sell, they're not looking to sell that home, they're looking to sell the builder's home. Is that right?
Exactly right.
Okay, fantastic. So walk us through that. So you basically started with these 800 plus units, had to figure out how to do that, and that sounds like that's been your model ever since. So now you go from doing one builder to now you guys represent several builders. What does that look like? Who would be your ideal builder?
We typically here have been 25 to 35 communities at a time that we're representing with between 8 to 10 builders. And so Paul, why don't you jump in and take over? I'll just jump in case you screw up.
Thanks, Dad. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't guessed, I'm the son. So, my route into the business, I was in a couple different sales positions prior, and then I was asked the question, do you like to sell? I said yes.
Sure.
And then the follow-up was, do you want to make more money? And I said, yes. So I started my career as an on-site salesperson, working, selling on behalf of builders, and that was, 12 years ago. And so we've had this foundation that we've built and created that we provide an in-house sales experience for builders. And where we're at now today in our market is it's continually evolving. In our market, back in the day, the local, the regional builders had a heavy presence. Now, the publicly traded builders like your Hortons and Lennars and Richmond Americans, they're about 50% of the market share up here for new construction. So we are continually evolving, and so we have a really nice handful of what I kind of refer to as anchor accounts, anchor builder accounts that we serve and work with, and then of course it's picking off the smaller local guys that are still prevalent and strong, but we're just having to evolve a little bit on where we've come, where we are now, and where we're looking to go.
Absolutely. So I have up on the screen now some of the services that you guys provide based on your newly redesigned website, which looks great, by the way. So walk us through, when you're meeting with a builder, what are some of the value adds that you tell them, hey, we can bring this to the table instead of you hiring your own inside sales team that works directly for you. Here's how you can leverage us to work for you instead.
That's a good question. You know, I'm going to back it up, though, a little bit.
Okay.
You know, what I see a lot of times, the tendency to go in with builders is realtors or brokers come in with their listing presentation and their big hit, and this is what we're going to do. And they're good, but sometimes they don't always make sense for that particular builder. So our actual first meeting with a potential builder client, our hard rule in here is we don't sell on our first meeting with builders. We forbid ourselves to do any selling. So our very first meeting with a builder is about discovery. It's what's going on with your project, or if it's the middle of a project, if it's the beginning of the project, how many units, do you have a product type, do you have any idea of absorption and where you want to hit? And so we just have kind of a laundry list of discovery questions. At the end of that, we'll go back and tailor a presentation that's appropriate for that builder, and then if it's even more granular, what's appropriate for that community. So, we can do a lot. It's the builder's needs that drives our presentation. So I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that's kind of philosophically how we first approach any new builder client.
Got it. So you're walking into that first meeting, and look, you guys have a lot of builders that we also have down here. You're walking into that first meeting and you're really seeking to understand of what their needs are, so that way you can see if you can help them. So I'm going to move over really quick to what your org structure looks like. Can you talk us through what your more horizontal versus vertical organizational model looks like?
Yeah, so, for us, the builder, our builder client drives the bus. And really, even more specific than that, we think in terms of community first, builder second, and if there's room, realtor or us third. So, how we set it up is, from a management standpoint, we have 3 account managers that manage the day-to-day sales aspect of the builder. And our account managers, we all report directly to the builder, and the account managers serve as the buffer between the builder and our wonderfully talented salespeople. And we use our account managers to actively day in and day out manage and to really keep the builders off the salespeople's backs and help prevent the salespeople from saying something egregious to the builder. So it's a buffer. So with that, we know the tip of the sword is our on-site sales presence.
Right.
But for them to be successful, there's a lot of people in what we call the back room that are supporting them, which is from transaction coordination to coordinating marketing to sales training and education to weekly reporting and all that. So for us, our org chart being horizontal, it's a foundation that is there to support the day in and day out sales efforts.
Got it. Okay. So then that happens and you're working with the daily sales efforts. So what does that accountability look like for those builder reps on a weekly basis, or builder reps in your world?
So make sure I understand the question. So every week, our salespeople are responsible for sending out weekly traffic and sales reports, and we track how many groups we get in during a week. And we track our groups as an entity. So a family of 4 comes into a sales center. They're counted as one group. So we track our traffic every week, our prospects. We have a universal rating system of how we rate every prospect or customer. It's an ABC type of deal, and that goes across all of our builder accounts. So there's some uniformity. We track on a weekly basis our competition, and we track model maintenance every week. And these are all either in, we have our own Excel spreadsheet that we've created. If the builder doesn't have their own CRM, if the builder has their management system, we utilize that. So it just depends a little bit. But, and then we have one weekly sales meeting with the builder. And then we have, we call them just planned encounters, where it's just management sitting down with the sales teams on a weekly basis. Got it.
And do you find with builders that there's any particular day that works better than others, or is it just builder by builder?
It's a little bit builder and builder. Typically, it's Mondays and Tuesdays. I actually, if I had a preference, I like Tuesdays. It gives us Mondays to sort out what the heck happened over the weekend, if there's any deals in process. It lets the smoke kind of clear a little bit. But they're typically Mondays and Tuesdays, and they're 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., and they're an hour-ish. Okay. We typically have the construction supers at each community there, get them in and out. We invite our preferred lenders to these meetings, which they sometimes show up to and sometimes don't. And then when they don't, they typically aren't preferred lenders anymore.
Got it.
So,
okay. And on your preferred lenders, do you guys have several that you work with? You have 25 to 30 different communities, several different builders you're representing. Does the builder pick the lender, or are you bringing them in as a preferred partner?
That's a great question. It goes one of 3 ways. And again, the publicly traded builders, right? Your Hortons and all them, they have their own lending institutions. For our builders, it's either they have someone that they've always worked with, and so it's dictated to us who the lender is going to be. That's fine. Sometimes they'll say, "Who would you like?" And we say, "This is who we want."
Right.
And they say, "Okay." Sometimes they'll say, "Hey, bring in 3 for us to interview."
Right.
So we've gone from back in the day, one preferred lender only, and then we went for a period of time to 3 or 4. Now we're back to 1 or 2. And in our marketplace, there's one national bank that I won't name that we'll never ever use, Bank of America. And sorry, but in our marketplace, there is from the price point, there's a lot of jumbo loans out there,
right?
And so there's a national institution that is very competitive in the jumbo market, so they get quite a bit of business, and then we've got a couple of regional institutions that we use, and then in some cases a little bit of local institutions. But at the end of the day, it's about the actual person who's handling it. The institutions, for the most part, can do kind of the same things. It's really the person that's actually handling it. But the unifying thing is everyone has to be at least in contact with our preferred lenders.
Got it.
We have that in our contracts.
Got it. So if I walked into one of your builders you work with, let's just Main View Homes, for example, because I know they kind of started into the U.S. through Seattle, but they're now here in North Texas as well. If we're a buyer, in order to do anything, we also have to pre-qualify with one of your preferred lenders, similar to how a builder with on-site staff of their own would do as well.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And are there any incentives that you guys have negotiated in based on that the lender might provide?
Yeah, typically it ranges anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 credit. Using the preferred lender. What we really do, I guess, kind of the reason behind really pushing our preferred lenders is it gives us better control of the transaction.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many deals being run through. Having one lender that can handle it, that's used to the builder forms, and that applies to title and escrow as well. It's a smoother transaction for the builder. And again, in our market today, we're not seeing a lot of fallout due to financing issues, but it's a control peace of mind for the builder.
Got it. And just to ask, we've got some great questions coming in on the sidebar that I'm going to ask as we go. April asked one question, and I'm going to expand on this. April is wanting to know, first off, do you guys have bridge loans? But I think the bigger question that I'm hearing from her is, I walk into one of your builder communities and I have a home to sell, and I need to sell that home in order to buy, but I don't want to be homeless, right? It's that contingency sale. How do you guys handle that? And what does that look like from both a sales standpoint, but also from a lender incentive standpoint as well?
Sure. Good question. So first of all, we don't really take contingent, at least our builders don't really take contingent deals. And, our market, we do have some standing inventory, but hardly any. So, for the most part, it's either a straight pre-sale, which is delivery in 6 to 8 months, or if the home's under construction, it's probably delivery in 90 to 120 days-ish. Also in our market, the resale world is on fire. I was at a breakfast the other day, and there was a fascinating stat. For every one new home sold in our market, 9 resale or used homes are sold. So it's a 9-to-1 ratio, which I'm still trying to figure out what that actually means. What it does mean for us up here is a shortage of new construction inventory. But again, back to the question, the contingency aspect, our builders really don't take contingencies. They don't really need to in our market. If the home looks all right and is priced all right, it moves extremely quickly. So it hasn't been a big issue today.
So a second follow-up question on that. So you're representing the builder. But somebody does have a home to sell. Is that something you guys try to refer to one of your other sales team members that may not be on the builder side, or are you having them work with a completely outside agent?
Great question. So this is an evolving thing for us.
Sure.
So first of all, if we can keep it within the team builder Keller Williams family, we try to.
Okay.
So if that's someone's licensed that with us that is focused on resale, and we just have a small number of doing that.
Okay.
We'll try to do that. Number two, 95% of the time, we'll keep it in the Keller Williams family, if at all possible.
Okay.
Our market, one thing I think it's important to note is that, the state of Washington it's broker friendly, and that's a good thing, but there's a ton of broker activity. So
Got it.
A good chunk of our deals are coming in with outside brokers where we lose control of the sale to a certain extent. When people are coming in not using a broker and working directly with us, then we're really able to control all aspects of the sale.
And that's a good point you make, Paul. So what percentage of your sales would you say have a buyer agent or a buyer broker attached to it versus what percentage comes in unrepresented?
Good question. So we strive for what we call in-house sale, which is no outside broker. We strive for 40%.
Okay.
And we hit that pretty darn close. There's deeper questions here with this topic. But on the surface, if it's 40% in-house, 60% are with outside brokers.
That's a big number.
Our agents are, those are fantastic numbers. It goes to a lot of things, but it goes to one of our value propositions that overall we deliver a cost of sale to our builders, which for the most part is unmatched in our industry up here for what we do. Our overall cost of sales for our builders are extremely low, and that's one of our big value propositions.
And when you say it's extremely low, what does extremely low look like to you guys? Sorry, I'm getting you into the nitty gritty for a second, but I think we're going to have some curious people on the call. What does an extremely low cost of sale look like for a builder community for you guys up in the northern Washington or Puget Sound area?
I think consistently on average, we deliver an overall cost of sale just on commissions of 3 to 3.25%.
Wow.
Now that includes outside agents. That's
right,
total
that's
cost
amazing. For a builder, that's a huge value add. So, and that's with 60% of your sales coming from realtors. And I'm assuming you're paying realtor commissions for when they come to you, right?
Correct. Yeah. Look,
wow.
If we hit 40% in-house, which is fantastic, that still means well over half needs to come from the outside brokerage community. So we embrace that and we love that. But not everyone uses a broker, and we facilitate that through our training and our good on-site salespeople. So
got it. That's awesome. That's a huge value add to your builders. So talk to me a little bit. We may have a couple more questions about your structure that may filter in, and I'll bring those up as we go. Talk to me about one thing, Paul, that you mentioned when we were talking before getting started on the call is that you guys have a culture that's a little bit different than what you would see from a traditional sales team or real estate sales team. So talk to me about what that looks like for you guys.
Oh, that's a great question. I think every company needs to have an identity and a personality.
Right.
And I think 100% with Team Builder that there's definitely a Bill Hurme personality that's infused in through all of us, and some of it's genetic. and so there is that sense of family and familiarity. You know, in our group, we've got 7 employees and about 35 licensed salespeople, and you know, our core group, we've all been here or been together for 10 years or more. And so one of the things that we really appreciated with Keller Williams is that there's certainly a Keller Williams culture. And we actually found in our discovery process of going, you know, thinking about going with Keller Williams or doing something else, is that, you know, there's a lot of Keller Williams isms. There's a lot of abbreviations and words and phrases, and I like them and enjoy them. But when you really examine them, a lot of the things that we talk about at Team Builder are just extremely similar to what K-Dub talks about. We just call them things a little bit differently.
Sure.
Like for us, you know, one of our big foundations, we have DHBs, which are deeply held beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the philosophical things that, you know, we build our business on.
Yeah.
And, you know,
so talk me, I have these up on the screen as well. Talk me through some of these deeply held beliefs.
So I love this, this part of our presentation that we bring. So, you know, we're builder dedicated. So, you know, our on-site people, they represent the builder. And a good way to think about us is, you know, at the root is the nationally public builders have in-house sales teams.
Right.
And they're DR Horton employees or Lennar employees. So we provide as close to that experience for our builders as the nationally publicly traded companies. That's what allows us to compete from a sales standpoint. That, you know, you'll walk into a publicly traded builder's sales center, you're going to be
right.
greeted by a true professional. You walk into a Team Builder sales center, you're going to be greeted and met by a true sales professional. And so we're builder dedicated, and proudly so. We represent the builder. You know, our communities are our stores, and it's a retail sales mindset, and we proudly represent the builder.
Great.
One of our other deeply held beliefs is following up with customers that come in. Now, we can all snicker a little bit and think, well, shouldn't everyone follow up with their customers? I don't have the statistics in front of me. The national statistics of just new home sales of how many times a customer gets followed up by an on-site salesperson are shockingly low. So we believe in real customer follow-up. You're going to get a call or an email within the first day. If appropriate, we're going to get you a thank you note. We don't send builder
right.
snail mail as much as we used to.
Yeah.
Have those templates. And, quality reporting is another kind of foundational thing. You know, our builder clients need to know what's going on at the site and in the surrounding area. And that goes from customers to construction to, you know, model maintenance, to what the competition is doing. So we have quality reporting day in and day out, week in, week out. We have to know what's going on in our communities. You know, ongoing sales training is huge. You know, if we're not learning and striving to get better, we're going to quickly go back into old habits. So there's a couple national sales trainers that we utilize and follow kind of their methodology to good success. But
who are your favorite national sales trainers to follow?
Jeff Shore, far and away number one.
Okay.
What I appreciate about Jeff, I mean, the sales process is kind of the sales process,
Sure.
and I don't think it's going to change much. What changes our perceptions and the spirit of the age and, what time, the kind of current social conditions we live in. But Jeff is extremely current. It's jeffshore.com.
Okay.
You see Jeff, make sure I give him a plug.
Yep, we'll let him know. Thanks for that. It's always good to know, who people are listening to or who they're studying. So it sounds like he definitely is a mentor of yours on how you guys have structured your sales training and your model.
Absolutely.
Seychelle, I have a few thoughts on to maybe share if someone is thinking of starting a builder division or department, if you'd like to hear them.
I would love to hear that.
What you get with builder business is fantastic repeat business. Mm-hmm. If you get a builder account, you're talking about maybe, if you're doing a good job, a minimum of 5 years worth of commissions. That can be hundreds or even into the thousands of listings.
Right.
So what that ends up being from a business point of view is fabulous cash flow.
Right.
Team builder knows that we're going to get in the door every month $250,000 to $350,000.
Yep.
That means that we can actually do real budgets because our budget, our builders give us their construction timelines, how many starts they're doing, and so forth. So if a more traditional team wants to actually do something like this, I really think you need to hire one person to be in charge of it.
Got it.
The structure, the skill sets, the kind of people you hire for on-site are all different. Our on-site people are not general realtors. They would sink they would sink if they went into the resale world. What they are is very good, skilled salespeople. Mm-hmm. Most people don't think this, but our good salespeople are making 60 or 80 sales a year.
Right.
I mean, who does that? Who does that? So I think if you really wanted to do this, you need to hire a specialist, probably subsidize them for a while, and figure it's going to take you 6 to 12 months to get something going that would start to be recognized as real. And we're happy to offer a little bit of free advice on that if someone wanted to do it.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. Well, I know I'm getting a lot of amazing questions on the sidebar too from that. And one that I would have for you, Bill or Paul, is, if someone is getting started in this, like let's say they have a traditional real estate sales team right now and they're looking at dedicating one individual to doing this. And just so you know, in a lot of our markets, the majority of the builders have in-house salespeople that sell for them that are employed by the builder right now. How did you go about approaching that conversation with them? Was it a, hey, we can save you money conversation? Was it a, we can do this better than you think you can conversation? How did you open up that?
I think Paul's main pitch, which has been very clever of him, is he goes to people that aren't in-house and says, look, you need us to be able to compete with all the NATs, the national builders, and provide a service that's equal to them, and you're not really big enough to afford to do it on your own unless you want to add a bunch of overhead. So let us give you an efficient, excellent in-house type service to enable you to compete. So that's number one. Number two, just by the excellence of the presentation, most of our builders these days come to us. We don't go to them.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's what we all hope for. Yeah.
That is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. So now you've got the right inbound leads coming to you, but it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me what I'm hearing from you is you're not going to, in your market, the Lennards, right? You're not going to the people that have massive in-house sales teams to start. You're going and finding a smaller.
Well, yes and no, because some of the nets trust us enough to give us some of their business. Usually they're smaller communities.
Got it.
Toll Brothers dribbles out some of their small stuff to us, and we're happy to take them. So it's not.
So not necessarily.
We're known up here now. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, so people know what they are. All of our competitors have, during the downturn, have fallen off and are gone.
Right.
So it's sort of like they're either in-house or us.
That's great.
Sort of. Yeah.
So
it is great.
Here's another question that I have for you. So, you mentioned 60% of your business is coming from a realtor or a broker bringing a buyer to you. It's phenomenal. You guys have a percentage of people being brought by your realtor community. That shows a real great trust between you and them. How do you talk to a buyer that comes into your community that may have a realtor friend that they aren't 100% bought in on yet? And you're trying to get your in-house percentages up, right, on how many you're doing in-house versus with a realtor. How do you handle that conversation, and what does that script look like? On record.
We're all friends here.
Okay.
Wow, that's a heck of a question.
I didn't promise to give you softballs. I know that.
No, that's a good one. I'm gauging how hard to swing at the one that's right over the plate.
Right.
Let me share a couple of thoughts. So, brokers that do their job, that is, they preview and they show up with their clients on their first visit to a community and are actually the procuring cause of the sale. We love, and I will embrace them as my brother, as my sister, every day and 4 times on Sunday.
Got it.
The brokers that do their job, we love. Not all of them do that.
Sure.
What we have here is we have a customer registration policy that's actually vetted through the Northwest Multiple Listing Service, and our registration policy is broker must be with their client on the first visit, or the buyer must identify who their broker is on their first visit, or the broker must call ahead prior to the first visit to say, hey, this is my client.
Got it.
When one of those 3 things happens, they'll get the full selling office commission.
Got it.
Which is typically 3%.
Got it.
If those things don't happen and someone gets into contract and closes, what we'll do is typically offer a 1% referral fee.
Got it.
And we go through these issues.
That's very nice to have that because we've all had it, right? You've all had it where you meet with a client, you're talking to them about all these things. You have a week before you're having your next meeting to go to look at showings, and they happen to be driving by a community, stop in, and next thing you know, they're under contract. That happens, and so that 1% referral fee, if they didn't do any of the procurement, at least I would imagine probably helps keep that relationship there with the realtor where they don't feel screwed out of the deal.
Well, no,
maybe.
You said it very nicely. There's lots of angst and consternation, and that's I deal with quite a bit of those. So just on a complete sidebar, for all of you that have got clients that are doing new construction and there's some sort of customer registration policy, very easy for you. Give them a stack of your business cards. Tell them whenever they go into a new community to say to the on-site salesperson, here's my broker's card, I'm working with them. Do it right up front, right up the bat, first thing after you say hello, you should be covered. So with that, the conversation happens a lot, and especially up here, because we've got discount brokerages that are giving half of their commission or almost all their commission, that are, we've got buyers that are pretty savvy that know, hey, builders are paying 3%.
Right.
I can go in and I can get a broker that says, hey, you can be my broker, but you're going to give me 2%.
Right.
Whether they do it legitimately, i.e. through the purchase and sale,
Right.
or they do it off the cuff in the back end, that happens a ton. So, we train and our salespeople to have the brokerage conversation at the right time in the sales process. Right. And that could be at the beginning, it could be at the middle, it could be at the end. But we do have scripts that train for and speak to, hey, here are the benefits of, I use the phrase buying direct. And, conversely, we also train if someone has a broker and they're identified, that as soon as they leave, we're on the phone calling their broker saying, hey, Joe and Mary just showed up. They said you're their agent. Let's get you in the process. So
got it.
It can be a tricky situation, and I'm actually dealing with an unbelievably egregious situation right now where, without going into details, another broker didn't do their job and they're trying to go after 20 grand in commission.
Got it.
It's not going to happen and all that. So we train for it, but it's all about what's best for the builder and the community and how we can serve the customers. So our salespeople, the client is the builder. Our people that come in are customers. So that's kind of how we look at it.
So another question for you off of that is, and what spawned that question, I asked it probably in a little bit more of a leading question for you guys to be able to answer it in a more holistic manner. So we have some builders down here that will literally tell buyers when they say they have a realtor or not, well, if you come in here without your realtor and we're representing you directly, we can give you more upgrades instead of you bringing your realtor in. How do you feel about that sort of a conversation? I mean, we're 3 or 4 builders that
happens. Our salespeople are not allowed to say that.
Okay. That's all.
Just remember, you guys, we live and work in the People's Republic of Washington, and we have so many rules, both from license law and multiple listing sherpas, that we couldn't possibly say that or anything close to it.
Okay.
Now, to be perfectly candid, however, though, if people think that they can do a little better by buying directly, we don't tell them they're wrong.
Got it.
But it's much more subtle. Much more.
Okay, so then another question I had was back to the comment that you made on, and Adam Franzetti was asking this, on the 3.5% blended average cost of sale for the builder. If someone is coming unrepresented to a builder, what does that commission structure or payment structure look like to you guys from the builder? And then if someone is coming with a realtor, what does that look like for you guys on the back end from a comp model standpoint?
Sure, good question. So we've built our business on typically flat fees on the list side for the salesperson.
What does that look like? What amount would that be like?
Boy, it could be from $2,000 to $4,000 a door.
Okay.
Paul, maybe there's a little more general way to answer it. Our list side ends up being around 2% if you factor in salaries.
Right.
Okay.
That's a better way to think about it.
And then where our builders really save money is on the in-house sales side. They maybe only have to pay another point.
Got it.
If we sell it in-house versus paying the 3%. So the in-house sales is really how we deliver great cost of sales overall to builders. And by the way, just so you all know, I was actually so dumb. I don't think I even knew what a split ladder was till I was 50. I mean, I just, back when this whole thing started, I just thought, well, what's enough money so that we're actually going to get paid on every transaction and we can pay the salaries and have a little bit left over. And then I also thought that a flat fee would incentivize some builders because as prices rise, it'll help their cost of sales. I mean, it was thinking that was actually that simple. So with rapid price appreciation, Team Builder, the company, after the agents are paid, might make like $3,000 a door. Well, that's good money. That works for us because we make it on every transaction because we don't have those dumb split ladders. You know?
Got it. So every single deal you're going to get paid in one way or the other. It's just the extra 40% of being able to sell it in-house versus out of house on how that's going to work.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
That makes perfect sense. Okay. And then the other question that I had for you on that, and I think I've already answered this for you on the sidebar, but the other question I had was, so, if someone walks in and they ask if they could do better if they don't have a realtor, but they have their realtor card in hand, how do you handle that sort of a situation?
If they have their realtor card in hand?
Yeah.
Just
say use your realtor.
Well, I mean, again,
it's tough. I'm not asking you easy questions, but these are true situations, right?
If a buyer comes in and they've got their broker's card in their hand, we're honoring that broker.
Got it.
We're not in the business to screw the brokers out.
Got it.
And the axiom holds true. All buyers are liars and sellers are worse.
Yeah.
And no, we're going to honor that relationship, and because we need to.
Well, it sounds to me like you're looking at this as a long-term relationship. I mean, Bill, you've been in this business for a long time. Paul, you've now been in the business for a long time too. So it sounds to me like you're looking at this from a way that most realtors would hope that a builder would look at the situation, which is, hey, we were here, we made it through the last downturn. We're going to be here through the next downturn and the next one after that. We hope that you are too. Let's work together on this versus I'm going to get one deal out of this buyer and screw this realtor and not worry about the relationship down the road. Is that
correct?
Okay. That makes perfect sense. And so basically, to go back to your comp model really quick, it sounds like you guys are doing flat fees on the listing side, and then you get a variable extra commission when it comes to the buy side. Does that make sense?
That's
good.
And
and that's fair. If a salesperson, if the team's not on a monthly stipend or a salary, we might go to a more of a flat commission amount. It just depends on the volume and on all that.
And then, so we have about 3 or 4 minutes left on our call. So if anyone has additional questions, they can put them in at this time and we'll make sure we get them answered. You mentioned something where you talked about a flat fee on the listing side. Are you putting these homes into MLS for these new construction properties?
Yes. We're members of the MLS.
We have to.
We don't list, like if we've got a 200 unit subdivision, we're not going to put 200 active listings in there.
Okay.
We're going to put 6 maybe.
Okay.
But we're gonna report everything that goes pending and obviously sold. But yeah, we're members of the MLS and we utilize that.
Got it. That's great. And then what does this make you look like in your MLS? As far so we have a couple of people that just do the assist to list with the builders in several of our markets within North Texas, New Mexico, and Memphis region right now, where they'll basically go in, they do nothing for the builder other than just throw them in MLS. So it makes them look like number 1 or 2 in our MLS because they're literally representing every builder, but they don't do anything else. You guys have that blended model where you're assisting with that MLS piece, but you've got the entire sales network underneath that too. What other things do you guys do to help bring buyer traffic in for the builder that they might not be able to do on their own or that you're replacing for them on their own?
So I guess it's a marketing question, yes?
Yeah, probably more of a marketing question. It started out structured and ended marketing. Sorry.
I think the simple answer is we get them to spend money, and that would be their money.
Got it. And then
we don't pay for the marketing. the
Okay.
builder pays for that.
Got it. That's just very simple.
Let's be clear. We pay for nothing.
Got
we
it.
don't pay for coffee.
Got it. That helps us a ton. So you guys have been so tremendously informational on this call, and wow, what a wealth of information you are. Is there anything that we didn't ask that you think that we should have asked to make sure we're understanding how you guys work?
I think the one comment that I kept trying to think of is a lot of our success has to do with our mindset, which is we actually think in terms of first, what's best for the builder.
Yeah.
And my clients over the years actually think I'm a builder, and I assure you I am not. And so it's with everything that comes up, we think in terms of, does that work for the builder? And that actually takes some conditioning and some time to think that way.
Sure.
Because it's not an easy place to get to, but once you get there, you get a lot of business. That's why I would go back to my earlier comment.
Right.
If any of the team people listening on this really want to do this, I think you need a dedicated person that just does builder business.
Got it.
I don't think you can throw it into the traditional mix and make it work.
Got it. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think with that too, it's, those are good words. The mindset is huge. I started off in new construction. That's all I've done. I've done a small handful of resale transactions in my career. I hated every one of them. I didn't like it. I didn't like to be called on a Friday night at 6 o'clock asking to go show a home.
Sure.
I would tell people, no, I'm not doing that. And so it's, my mindset's always been new construction. And, I think with that mindset, it's also that point you got to get to where, I can't really add or subtract, but I can multiply.
Right.
And, so I can say, it's a middle to long-term play. It's, hey, how can I leverage 200, 300, 400 sales a year, not over 2 years, but over 5, 7, 10 years. Yeah. And, that's how you build that foundation, build a company. And, it's not about 3% here or 3% there. It's, I'll take 1.5 points multiplied by 500 over 5 years, then 3 points multiplied by 20 over 2 years.
Right.
I mean, it's just, and
the stability.
That's the mindset. And you get there by doing it. It doesn't happen overnight.
I love it. Well, and, a benefit we were talking about too, you guys, is Boeing just announced they are moving to North Texas. So I'm hoping that several people on the call are going to be dealing with a lot of Boeing relocation people moving down, and they can refer you to business back up in the Washington area. Or if they're running across builders that have accounts up in the Seattle, Puget Sound, Northern Washington area, that they can send you those referrals as well, because you guys have been a wealth of information. Paul, I have your contact information up on the screen. But it sounds to me like the best way to reach you is by email first, right?
Email first. If something's really dire and you're going to blow your brains out, call me.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, email's great.
That's awesome. And gentlemen, you guys have been phenomenal on this call. I've been flying notes up on the side of the screen for everyone, and with lots of questions. It's been an incredibly interactive call, and we are so thankful for your time and for all of your knowledge you all have shared with us. And next up for our next Millionaire Mindset call is going to be on May 4th at 11 a.m. And that will be with Kevin Kaufman and also with Cody Gibson. Paul and Bill, thank you so much for your time this morning. And if there's anything else you need, let me know.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.